Claims for refund after Caitlin Clark injury upset WNBA legend Sue Bird. Caitlin Clark getting injured early in her second season was not what the Indiana Fever had hoped for when assembling a stellar roster this past offseason. The team now stands 8th in the standings with an abysmal 2-4 record. 2 of those losses came after the superstar guard was sidelined after suffering a quad injury. Even though the initial time for recovery has been slated to be 2 weeks, it could take longer, and the Fever has no intentions to rush her back. As her experienced teammate, DeWanna Bonner clarified, it is better to face injuries earlier in the season than when they are nearing the playoffs, as that messes with team chemistry. They are already struggling, and thus, do not mind struggling now rather than struggling later. But those struggles do have an effect on the morale of fans. They are disappointed that they cannot watch Caitlin Clark play. On top of that, these continuous losses might not motivate them to show up. WNBA legend Sue Bird believes that behavior is not what the league should be facing. We've got some wild comments from Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe. Buckle up for this one. So here's the deal. They're weighing in on Caitlin Clark, her recent injury, and the whole conversation around fans spending big money to come see her play. And I mean big money. We're talking folks driving hours, hopping on flights, booking hotels, all that just to catch a glimpse of the phenom herself. Now, here's where it gets spicy. Some people started asking for refunds after realizing Clark wasn't suiting up. And let's just say Sue and Megan had some thoughts about that. I'm not even gonna paraphrase it. Y'all need to hear this for yourselves. It's only about a minute, but trust me, it's got people talking. Let's roll the clip, then we'll break it down.
So yeah, Caitlin left quad strain, happened in the game. She's now out for, it says 2 weeks. She's missing however many games in those next couple weeks. Some of those games, the one against the Mystics was moved to Baltimore, a larger arena. The one against the Sky moved to the United Center, a larger arena.
First of all, WNBA was awesome before Caitlin got here, and it's been awesome for a really long time. They're probably gonna go, and yes, they might be a little disappointed that they don't see Caitlin play, but they're probably gonna go and like get an amazing game and then be like, oh wow, this is awesome. I love the WNBA.
Before we even get into Sue Bird's reaction, hold up, because I gotta talk about Megan Rapinoe's take first. Let me tell you something. Megan, whatever point you thought you were making, yeah, that wasn't it. That little rant of yours, it didn't just fail to change the minds of people who already disagree with you. It probably made some folks who did agree with you go, wait, what? You came off like a spoiled, whiny, out-of-touch 5-year-old. And let's be real here, fans aren't flying across the country, paying hotel prices, buying tickets and merch just to maybe see a solid pick and roll or a decent team effort. No, they came to see Caitlin Clark. Point blank. And I get it, you want people to support the league, no matter what. We do too. But the WNBA hasn't always been awesome. That's just facts. That's why the ratings weren't there before. That's why people weren't packing arenas. Now, we're finally seeing a shift. Players like Caitlin Clark, Kiki Iriafen, Sonia Citron, they're the future. The excitement is finally building. But don't sit there and pretend fans are wrong for being disappointed when the one reason they showed up isn't on the court. That's not a bad fan, that's just reality. Anyway, let's now hear how Sue Bird responded to all this, because her tone? Way different. Let's roll it.
The only thing that really stood out, to be honest, was there was one quote in one of the front office sports articles. It's unclear whether the teams will provide any compensation for fans who bought tickets to their games. And I was like, what?
Grow up.
Grow up? Really? That's what Megan Rapinoe has to say to fans. All right, we gotta talk about this. Because the irony here is just off the charts. You just went on this little rant, full of entitlement, full of attitude, sounding exactly like a spoiled brat who's out of touch with reality, and then you turn around and tell fans to grow up? Let's get one thing straight. These fans aren't being immature. They're not being dramatic. They're being real. They were ready to drop thousands of dollars, flights, hotels, food, parking, tickets, all of it, just to see Caitlin Clark. That's the draw. That's the reason they booked the trip. And now you want to shame people for being upset when the very reason they were going isn't even playing? You ever heard of supply and demand? Come on now, this ain't hard. Nobody's saying the rest of the WNBA doesn't matter. But don't sit there and gaslight fans into thinking they're the problem for not blindly shelling out money when what they came to see isn't even on the floor. Anyway, enough from me. Let's cue it up. Listen to what Megan said and how she said it, then we'll really talk.
Injuries are a part of it. Again, I get it. It sucks. If you bought a ticket to see somebody and they're hurt, I get it. That is like a big bummer. But no, you would never say that about men's sports. If LeBron was out or Steph Curry or the big names were out for a couple weeks, they would never be like, oh, we're going to reimburse you guys. Sorry about that. Now you're just not taking the WNBA as a business. You're not seeing it as a business. So I'm like, yeah, she's hurt. It sucks. And the league will continue to go on.
Okay, real quick. A couple things I need to say before we go any further. And this is exactly why I said what I said earlier, because no offense, Sue. Maybe you're smart in other areas, but this whole, they're not seeing it as a business argument? Come on. Sue, it's not a business. It's never been a business. If it were, it would be run like one. But for almost 30 years, it's been operating as a charity funded by the NBA. That's just facts. Let's not pretend this thing has been profitable on its own or driven by demand. It hasn't. Not until very recently, and even that is almost entirely because of one player. And as for that idea that you don't see this in men's sports, yes and no, and I'll explain. Because in men's sports, yeah, fans want to see the stars, always. But a lot of them are also just loyal to the team, the brand, the franchise. They'll show up win or lose. That kind of loyalty, it takes decades to build. WNBA doesn't have that yet in most markets. But now here's where it gets interesting and familiar. You do see this issue in men's sports. It's called load management. Fans are constantly buying tickets months in advance to see their favorite player, LeBron, Kawhi, Giannis, whoever, and then boom. Day of the game. DNP rest. And people are tired of it. They're tired of spending hundreds of dollars to take their kid to a game, travel hours, park, eat, buy the merch, and then the guy they came to see just doesn't play. Not injured, not sick, just sitting out because it's the third game in 4 nights. So yes, Sue, you do see this in men's sports. It's a real problem, and fans hate it there, just like they're reacting to it here. The only difference, in the NBA, there's enough depth and star power to keep people somewhat interested. In the WNBA right now, if Caitlin Clark isn't playing, most fans don't feel like they're getting the value they paid for, and that's not on the fans. That's on the league's current state. Bottom line, fans have every right to be frustrated when the one reason they bought the ticket isn't on the court. Don't guilt-trip them for that. Don't lecture them about business, when this league hasn't even been treated like one. Alright, so here's the thing. This whole take from Megan Rapinoe? Kinda ridiculous. And honestly, how she said it made it even worse. Because once again, we've got someone totally missing the point. Not understanding, not appreciating what fans are doing right now when it comes to Caitlin Clark. Let's be real. People aren't just casually strolling into these arenas. These tickets sell out fast. And then what happens? You've got resellers jacking up the prices, people paying double, triple, sometimes more, just for a chance to see Caitlin play. And it's not just the ticket. It's travel, it's hotel, it's time off work, it's everything. So yeah, that's a lot to ask from someone when the main reason they bought that ticket isn't even on the floor. Now, I'm not saying there should be refunds. Let's make that clear, but to brush off people's frustration like it's some entitled tantrum? That's disingenuous. At best. At worst, it's totally dismissive of the same fan base you're depending on to grow the league. And here's what really gets me, the whole refund conversation. It came from one quote, one little soundbite in one article. I haven't seen this massive group of fans demanding their money back. Most of them either try to sell the ticket or just take the loss. They don't go because it's not worth spending another $3,000 on a trip without Caitlin Clark in the lineup. And that's not pettiness, that's reality. I just don't get why Sue and Megan keep taking this approach. Instead of showing empathy, or even just understanding the fan perspective, they go straight into the condescending takes. It's not helping. It's not building anything. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. What do you think? Drop a comment below and let me know if I'm off base or just saying what you're already thinking. As always, I appreciate you being here. Hit that like button, smash subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.